Thanks for coming, everyone. We'd love you to move in and grab your seats. We have especially got some seats over on my right, your left, which are extra sustainable. So if you sit over here, you're really helping us out. That's a lie. But what is not is I'm here with my lovely friend, Alex, Dr. Alex. Hi, Dr. Alex.
Hey, how is everyone going tonight? Does everyone have a food and a drink and a sustainable idea in their heads? That's great. Yep.
We are your co-hosts tonight. So my name's Dave. I work with Uts Startups. And just before we kick off, I want to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation upon which UTS stands. They're in Saturn Land. UTS now stands. And we've got many people watching us through the live stream who are all over the place. And we acknowledge the elders, both past and present, of wherever you are as well. And we're all going to have a great time tonight. Going to hear about some incredible sustainability ideas and businesses, and we're going to have a few surprises.
Yeah, we have got a few surprises that not even our teams know about.
It's that tight around here, yeah. And also we've got some really cool special guests, so lovely to have you all in the room.
Yeah. So as many of you know, over the past 2 weeks, we've been running the first ever Green Sprint with our 8 amazing teams. They're all sitting here in the room. Let's give them a round of applause. I know that was you guys warming up, but I'm going to get a louder one a little bit later. Don't you worry. So over the past 2 weeks, these teams have had amazing mentors supplied by the Macquarie Group, programming through Uts Startups, support through Deep Green Biotech Hub, and really we're very excited to kind of see what sustainable ideas they're going to bring and showcase us today.
That's right. And so we'd love to hear from one of our very special guests.
Yes. We have Peter van der... I tried really hard with that one. Westingen?
Take two.
This feels harder than when I was giving my PhD presentation. Peter van der Westhuizen?
Take three.
You're getting me to sweat a little bit more to make the pitches feel welcome, I know that.
Exactly.
So we have Peter here, who is the Executive Director of Macquarie Bank. They have very kindly been supporting this program, and I'm going to leave him with you to give a few words.
Thanks very much, Alex. My name is Peter van der Westhuizen. It's so simple. So the V is pronounced F, the D is pronounced D, the W is pronounced V, the TH is pronounced A, and the Y and the Z is pronounced Y. So van der Westhuizen, simple, just like Smith. Think Smith, you got it. So look, I thank you very much for having us here tonight. It is an absolute privilege. I work in a group in Macquarie called the Banking and Financial Services Group, so BFS. So the one thing you will know about Macquarie is we love acronyms, so BFS. And BFS has a very active environmental sustainability group. And it's run by what we call employee network groups. So think of an ENG, and ENG is a collection of our staff who spend time on a voluntary basis on initiatives that really appeal to us and things that we have a real passion about. And so for some of us, we're really passionate about sustainability. Some of us are passionate about gender equality, etc. But it's that environmental sustainability ENG that actually drove the fundraising in February to support the sprint. And so really I want to say thank you to everybody in that ENG who drove the fundraising. I think some of them are logged in today, which is fantastic. Some are here today. Please say hi. But really today is an exceptional event, and one of the things that we're also going to be doing is we're going to be doing some judging, and I am very honoured to be one of the judges here today. I will say that actually I've been mentoring one of the teams. I remain incredibly unbiased, so there have been no lollies, there's been no chocolate, there's been no bribery, I have to say. But so we will be doing some judging, which will be excellent. Now, you might be wondering how Macquarie got to this point. Well, part of that sustainability group, we have a couple of people who do a lot of volunteer work with UTS, and particularly with the Deep Green Biotech Hub as well. And they raised our awareness of the awesome work that is happening here. And so what we thought we'd do is we wanted to get involved, and that's really how we came to be. So your reputation's filtered into our wonderful organisation in Macquarie. And the other thing too, which is interesting, is Macquarie's purpose is really to innovate and to invest for a better future. And we really mean that. We focus very much on our communities, on the innovation of a whole series of things that we do. And that's why we think there's such a mutual benefit here. We're talking about sustainable innovation. That is absolutely the way of the future. So what I thought I'd do before we kick off is I would like to share some top tips on pitching. And these are my top tips that I have learned because I did my first pitch when I was 24. And it was an absolute unmitigated disaster, like complete disaster. And I remember thinking at the time, if I had one wish, it would be that the earth would just open up and swallow me whole, and that would just take care of the whole problem. And so that's how well it went. But I actually do have some top tips which I'm going to share from you. And because I'm getting a bit older, I'll need to put on my glasses. So here we go. Okay. So number one tip is know your audience you're pitching to. Now, you have to know, if you don't know what's important to your audience, it's very hard to get the message right. You have to really understand what's important to them. And a bit of background diligence and some research is a really, really important thing. Now, you've sort of got two choices. You can do that, or you can just shoot in the dark and hope. Now, shooting in the dark and hoping is not a very good strategy. So you really have to know the audience that you're pitching to. The second thing I've learned is the problem. Clearly define the problem that you are trying to solve, because if you do that really well, then you want to grab people's attention. You want them to say, oh yeah, actually, I can see that. So good definition of problem statement is an excellent thing. The third top tip here is explaining the solution. And the way that I would convey that is to think about explaining a solution that appeals to people's hearts, minds, or guts. What do I mean by that? Well, people think differently, and not everybody's going to think the way you think, and not everybody will think the way that I think. So you really have to understand how people you're pitching to understand the language as you're explaining the solution. Get your presentation right, get your flow right, get some rehearsing done. The last thing you want to be doing is going, and this is what I have also done, the day of the presentation, the day of the pitch, the day before, it's like, get the group together quickly. Right, who's saying what again? No. And you want to be really polished, because what that does is preparation builds confidence in your idea. And there's a very good saying which says that form and substance are great partners. So what you say is as important as how you say it. So make sure good preparation is done there. Think about the tricky questions. Hoping they will not ask questions is not a strategy. It's not a strategy. And are not the right words when you need to respond. Think about the audience you're pitching to and say, well, if I was in their shoes, what questions would I be asking? And get the preparation right, so when they are asking the questions, you can confidently return an answer. Great saying. Practice. Wonderful saying which says, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Practice, 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 practice. Can't underestimate. Sometimes in Macquarie, when we're doing very large presentations, and they're short presentations, we will spend 1 hour for every 1 minute that we're on stage practicing. So if you're doing a 10-minute presentation, to give you an example, I believe it's a keynote addresses, that's how much preparation we put into it. So practice is a wonderful thing. The final tip I'd say to you is never do what I did. So in my pitch, I rocked up to a group of executives who I didn't know, didn't understand what was important to them. The CFO was there, and I said, hi, my name's Peter. I want $200,000 to develop a new system to transport frozen food. And the first question that was asked was, so why do we need that? And I went, geez, that's a damn good question. I didn't think of that. Botched the answer, and it was the longest 5 minutes of my life. And my slide deck was beautiful because it was up there in 8-point font with just words everywhere on the screen. I thought it looked good. They thought it looked pretty subpar, actually. So just do not do that. Do the things that you think will resonate with your audience. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm also just going to say a huge congratulations to you as well. This is a wonderful thing. It takes a lot of courage to do what you've done. It's wonderful to see the innovation. Pitching and talking to your audience about the things that you're doing is an incredible skill to develop. Today is a wonderful opportunity and it's a safe environment. Give it a go. I know sometimes it can be actually really quite daunting. It doesn't matter. This is a great environment to do that because it's all about learning the lessons for the future. It will keep you in a great stead. Thank you again for the opportunity to be involved. It is absolutely wonderful. We are very privileged and we look forward to many years of future collaboration together. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Peter. And wow, like we appreciate everyone that is here and we really appreciate the investment of time and energy of your mentors. We've seen it all happen and yeah, it's incredible. We really appreciate that. So
we now have a very special guest who is about to appear on screen. Can I get a bit of a round of applause for the Honourable Gabriella Upton, Secretary to the Premier. Hello, Gabrielle, can you hear us?
Me?
Yes, hi. How you
doing? Fantastic. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. I'm in Parliament, so I would love to be there in person, but I can't be. And if you hear any bells going off, that's parts of Parliament being called to divisions when we take votes. But I wanted to congratulate the Green Hub, the Green Biotech Hub, to UTS Startups and to Macquarie Bank to supporting this inaugural Green Sprint. It's absolutely fantastic. UTS do such a great job when it comes to supporting startups amongst the student community and beyond. And I also want to thank the academics who've assisted you all in this program, to the mentors from Macquarie Bank and broader, to members of Sydney Startup Hub and Community, which is a really big community these days, and the investment community, of course, for backing in what you're doing here tonight and you've done over the last little while. To the 8 startup teams, I really wanted to, wow, I can't imagine how excited you are to be there tonight, and also maybe a little bit nervous. But I wanted to say you're doing an incredibly important thing by bringing your ideas forward. I know you've had 2 weeks of lots of activity. And just to remember that this is only one step in the whole journey and that, in fact, you're all at very different stages. I had a look at the profiles of the 8 startups that are presenting tonight. It's anything from ideation through to minimal viable product development. So, you're doing very different things and at different stages at this point. But it really doesn't matter whether you win the best pitch or you're the most sustainable business, really don't worry because pivoting, failing, all of those things come with thinking up new and creative ideas of products and services and ways of living. So, going back to the drawing board, which we do in politics and in Parliament quite a bit, it's all part of that journey, which ends up to something that might be quite different from where you are tonight. I want to talk in the time I have left just a little bit about what the relationship of the state government is to what you're doing here tonight. And that is that we actually have supported the Biotech Hub through Treasury over a number of years, which is a really important initiative which goes to the focus of the Green Sprint tonight, sustainable living. And UTS, I think, probably understands that better than a lot of universities because it is an urban university right, in the centre of Sydney, and so has to think about these issues. And I have actually visited the Green Biotech Hub myself when I was there a couple of months ago. But the New South Wales government has launched an action plan which was keen to make sure when the Premier launched it in January that we are able to encourage innovation from startups right through to companies commercialising new products and ideas and creating jobs and new industries across the state. We really haven't had a strong focus on that historically in this state. We've kind of relied on good things happening to us because we're Sydney and we do things really well. We've got 11 universities, some of which are in the top 200. We've got more startups than any other state, but we realised that we had to be a little bit more strategic about it all. And so when the Premier launched the plan, and only 2 weeks ago launched a new agency in the government, which is called R&D New South Wales, it was in recognition that we need to get more organised about what we're doing. The thing that relates to the action plan that I just wanted to specifically bring to your attention, which might be of interest to you going forward, is we will, in the next 6 months, kick off a new program, which is called the Small Business Innovation Research Program. It's based off a program that's run very successfully in the United States. And we would use this program for people like yourself to get involved. It works like this. We in government have lots of problems we want to solve. They're really discrete challenges about perhaps how to provide very safe transport across our network. It might be how do we collect more data about koalas and their habits across our community. Think of small problems that are really important for government to solve. And so what we'll do is we will announce a couple of these challenges with discrete problems we want solved for innovative ideas. And when people come forward with those, they'll be judged. They'll go to the next stage where they can be prototyped. And as we heard when we consulted on our action plan, the most important thing that government can do is become a customer of these innovative solutions. And so at the end of this program called the SBIR, there's the possibility of one of the innovative solutions becoming a product or a service that the state government procure. We procure across the economy about $30 billion of goods and services over a year. So there's a much better job we can do in purchasing those products and services to solve our problems, to make sure that we procure innovative solutions rather than going back to the same solutions all the time. So again, good luck tonight. I'll be really interested to hear the outcomes. Thank you very much for doing what you do, which is taking a risk, a chance. And you've got the support of the mentors, the academics, and of course that really strong support of UTS behind you. I look forward to hearing the outcomes, and if there's any way I can support you going to the future, please let the state government know. We are very interested in what you're doing and want to encourage you to think and act creatively, which is what you're doing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure everyone in the room, particularly the startup teams that we have, are incredibly inspired, and just wanted to thank you again for taking the time to address everyone here this evening. I think we're out. Okay.
She knows we appreciate it.
She knows.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, what we came for tonight is to hear some incredible young businesses tell us about what they do.
We did. Before we introduce them, though, I think we've...
Fun. Thank you. Good point. This is why I have these notes in front of me, and you guys think it's probably complex. It just says, back yourself, Dave. I don't have any actual, yeah.
Mine says, don't forget people's names and don't mispronounce them.
Key learnings.
So we have our wonderful judges here up the front. You've heard from Peter, Executive Director of Macquarie Bank. We'll get Peter to wave your hand again. We have Heather Catchpole, who's the founder and CEO of Refraction Media, who's also been mentoring scientists all week at Science Meets Parliament. And then we also have the wonderful Helen Palmer, who is the Associate Director of Innovation and Precincts in New South Wales Treasury and a big supporter of all things algae. They will be our wonderful judges this evening. So anyone pitching tonight, these are the beautiful people, aren't they? Very beautiful. So they will be asking a couple of questions. Audience, we ask that you keep your questions to the end. We're trying to keep things snappy and pitchy. But as always, we're here to support. So lots of noise, lots of claps, lots of, I don't know, how else do people show their support?
You could pick up a chair and shake it if you really want.
As long as it's 1.5 metres away from the...
Yes, that's the key. Yeah.
Dave, do we want to bring our first team up?
I reckon we do. And so first of the 8 businesses, firstly, has everyone here, who here has come tonight because they know someone who's pitching or you've met? Yep. So that almost most people in the room are here supporting these guys. So very, very cool. It's not really a competition. It's more like a celebration. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll call it that. But Jaden, our very first startup founder who's going to be pitching for Clear Connections.
Let's give him a round of applause before he even gets up here.
Okay, hello, my name is Jaden and I'm representing Clear Connections tonight. Who here has a bin at home and you might sort out your food waste and your recyclables from that bin? So who here knows like where that goes after it goes into the abyss after you put it outside? Food waste, that is. Not everyone. So there's a disconnect, and we believe that people receive no feedback from the efforts they do when they're sorting out their food waste. And there's also no way to quantify what's in the bin after it leaves your house and track that data. So in saying that, there's an issue, an environmental issue in Australia, where 92% of that food waste ends up in landfill, which also costs $600 million annually for Australia and a bunch of environmental impacts as well, such as greenhouse gases and methane and all that. So at Clear Connections, we're building something. We're trying to build a solution. We're building a sensory solution that can measure the contents of your bin, characterize it, and collect that data so it can be useful for a bunch of customers. And we believe there are two different areas where that data can be used. It can be used to empower existing waste-to-energy supply chains and other beneficially reused facilities. And also the people at home who sort out their waste, who don't know where that's going. We can actually take you on that journey where you'll see the impacts of your efforts. So who's working on this? Myself, Charlotte, and Matt Bevan. We're a bunch of engineers trying to do great things. Come and talk to us afterwards if you want. And our ask. Currently we've got a prototype and we really want to run an industry trial and bring that to an MVP level so that we can help businesses like this who are doing pretty good work in that area thrive, basically. So that's it for me. I've got 30 seconds to go, so I'll keep talking a little bit. Maybe not. How about I just tell you this? I'll end with this quote. You are the sky, everything else is just the weather. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Jaden. Good pick.
No worries.
So this sounds really interesting, and I want to pick up on the data point. Is the aim to aggregate data and share that or sell it to create the next point in the business model?
So the data is so that the waste companies can essentially use it to make better decisions in their supply chain. It's like instantaneous data to know what's going in the truck, if there's pure waste going in there, or if there's contamination, they can actually prevent it from going to a site and then being sorted out. So it's like, empowering good decisions from that end. The data can then be used to close the feedback loop to those at home, to be like, you put out 99% pure waste, food waste, and that generated X amount of green electricity, and we can give you that in like intervals of a month or a year, and we're hoping that incentivizes good behavior. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jaden. Let's give him another round of applause. Thank you. Awesome. Our very next startup is called Laguerta. So Chris, where are you? Yep, you're right in front of me. Let's give Chris a big round of applause.
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm from the startup called Laguerta. Our traditional farm is not sustainable. It may be, we use a lot of water and pesticide. It may be associated with the 70% insect biomass lost in Germany over 3 decades. But we need other farms to produce more, even 56%, to feed the next 2 billion people. But we can't afford to expand our farm because we already used 50% of our current vegetated land. Our farms are located far from consumer. We need to transport and store our fresh produce, which may diminish their nutritional value. Our solution? Use the space in our homes. Our homes are climate controlled and protected from pests. But not many of us knows how to garden, and we are all time deprived. Well, worry no more. Meet the Demeter. Demeter uses hydroponic garden, which uses 90% less water than soil, and makes plants grow 50%, up to 50% faster. What are the features? Well, artificial intelligence for fault automation, environment monitoring using Internet of Things, and time-lapse video to track plant growth. You could also customize plant taste and structure by adjusting light intensity and the content of the fertilizer and acidity of the plant nutrients. We are the first to implement the reconfigurable grow bed, so you could grow the superfood microgreens as well. So here's the comparison of our product against what's existing in the market. Using the same software and hardware, we scale up to cater larger demands. We have the Demeter, which is expandable horizontally. We have the green wall, which is yet to be prototyped, and our off-grid greenhouse. Using these scalable products, we partnered with community growers and provide online marketplace, and then leasing of units to schools, restaurants, and offices. We will also provide software as a service for plant AI. Here's our market opportunities. We saw that Australia is still importing fresh produce, and Middle East could be a good market as well. Here's our ask. 60K to develop our MVP for this scalable product and manufacturing. This is my team. Thank you.
I really like that you did the product comparison. Have you found that there is, could you sort of identify those unique features about your product for us a little bit more there? So is there something there where your product is kind of ticking the box and all of the, everything is it?
Basically, this comparison is, I'm comparing all the smart garden out there, because if you look at if you go to the market, everyone is claiming that their garden is smart, although it's just turning on the lights off and then pump. So they already claim smart. But this one are remote controllable gardens.
And you're the only one to use AI as well in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Fantastic. We're going to give you another round of applause. Anyone growing plants gets a big tick in my book. But up next, we have someone who is doing something a little bit different with plants. We've got Peel Appeal.
Hello everyone, I am Maria and I'm from Team Peel Appeal. So how many of you knew that there's 7.3 million tons of food waste generated in Australia alone every year? That's a big number. And 8% of the total greenhouse gas emissions comes from the food waste that ends up in a landfill. We at Peel Appeal aim to change these stats. Peel Appeal will teach school students about ways to repurpose their food waste and tell them about innovative solutions to use their food waste. We would teach them about methods to recycle, upcycle, re-recycle, and compost their food waste. We aim to create a generation of future influencers with a sustainable mindset. So there are 10,000 schools in Australia with an enrollment of approximately 4 million students. On an average, each student produces 3 kgs of avoidable food waste every year. That totals to 12,000 tons of food waste annually, which can be utilized in further ways, be it culinary or composting. We aim to continue this in 2 phases. Phase 1, we would be creating content and reaching out to schools in forms of workshops and educating students on how they can reuse their food. We would also collect feedback from students and parents themselves so that we could tailor it according to their needs. In phase 2, we would launch an MVP app which would contain the content that has been taught in workshops. It will also have extra content that they can further tell to their neighbors or parents. We would also do the same approach with the app and reiterate it based on the feedbacks that we receive. Our ask today from all of you here is introduction to school admins, be it principals, teachers, anyone that you know. We also would like advice on penetrating into other educational institutes, for example, universities or colleges, and anything that you think would add value to our application. So why us? What makes us unique? I am a software engineering student at UTS with a technical background. I'm an equity ambassador, and I go to schools and conduct different workshops, so I have experience in dealing with different students. And my co-founder, Leanne, she has been in the food industry her entire life. She has been in the hospitality industry. She's a researcher, gastronomer. So this combination is very complementing, and we can together create a sustainable Australia. And that's the end of our pitch, and we open the floor to any questions that you have.
Thanks for the great pitch. I'd like to start my question just with an offer, because I work with schools, and so I'd certainly be happy to connect with you and to help you have those introductions and to schools. And my question is, how have you piloted with schools, and how have you engaged with teachers at this sort of early phase, I guess, in the app development?
I've taught at the best cooking schools in Sydney, and I've taught a class here at the University of Technology with some students. I was teaching them about salad making. A lot of students eat takeaway, and there are some countries where they eat almost no vegetables and so on. I did this class and I gave them what I thought was the most brilliant cheat sheet I've ever seen. They really couldn't care less. Maybe they screenshot it and put it aside. I said, do you want to make Asian dressings? Do you want to make this kind of dressing? Whatever. They agreed. We went out to the garden, we harvested the produce, and they made their own salad dressing. They were beside themselves at what they created. They were tasting, testing, swapping, whatever. They sat down, they had a beautiful salad with their customised, salad dressing, and they went away happy as Larry. So the answer to the question, sorry, your question was?
I guess I'm thinking of curriculum linkages and whether you've piloted with schools, whether you've had a focus group with teachers, what kind of feedback you've had in that early stage with teachers.
Right, so we haven't actually piloted to kids. We're addressing a number of age cohorts. We want to leave it open so that they can give us honest feedback. The point that I was making before is what I think is really sexy and exciting and interesting and valuable is not necessarily what the students find is exciting. I quiz everybody I can. I was even quizzing some parents of 2-year-olds this morning about, why is your kid not eating that pear peel, whatever. And it's really quite surprising. It would vary across schools. They're heterogeneous populations. Where I live in the inner city, What kids in Burke Street Primary School is of interest to them is not necessarily what's interesting to other people. So we're definitely going to be collecting data in our first stage, and then we're going to deliver our app, and it will have other additional units. We want to address the issue of packaging. We want the kids to create products that they can sell or use or gift. And if we give them that knowledge and we tell them what the parameters are and we work with the teachers, we can deliver a very high quality learning experience.
Well done on the pitch. That was fantastic. Maria, just a question for you, just in terms of the app. What information will be displayed on the app, and who would that app be for?
So the app will basically be for students. So whichever schools we've been to, they would have access to the app. Obviously, there will be a subscription to the app. That would be our revenue model. But we plan to launch it to students, and based on the type of food waste, for example, fruits. So we can have a section where they have a specific fruit, for example, citrus, and the number of things they can make with it. They would have option of actually going through each section and seeing, okay, if I want to make citrus tea, what do I do with that fruit peel? So they would have the opportunity to explore themselves as well, not just the workshops. So we're actually trying to reach the students, but eventually that would help educate their parents as well. And I think parents are more excited when they see their kids doing something to get more involved. Otherwise, generally, they're busy with their lives. So.
Totally agree with that. Yep, great, thank you.
So up next, we have Peter from Seek Geeks. I'm going to hand the microphone over here. This one over here.
And hi, I'm Pete. I'm a Seek Geek. So opening question is, who is making environmental decisions on your behalf? Who is deciding that this amount of waste can be put into a creek, can be discharged? Who is deciding whether this amount of sewage can be put on this particular farm lot? It's environmental regulators are making the decisions. I know because I am one. I come from this world, and you would like to believe that they are well-armed, well-resourced, plenty of time to make these decisions, and that they're recording it in a good, transparent way. None of these things are happening. We are living in a world where the regulators are under-resourced, time poor, and they're not finding that the technology is accessible to them in a lot of the cases, which means that the people who are on the other side of the fence, the developers, the people who are wanting to get away with stuff, have consultants who have the better tech and who are bamboozling environmental regulators on a day-to-day basis. So I've been thinking about this problem for a long time, and where we have decided to act is to develop a Seek Geeks platform. And essentially what this is we're going to invite environmental regulators into a room, into the technology tent with developers, coders, designers, and we are going to help them mount the barriers that currently lie in their way to making good decisions. We want to give them access to data. We want to give them access to the best analysis that's currently available, good modelling tools, whatever it is that is currently stopping them from being able to make good, sound decisions on our behalf, we're here to fix. So we are here. I am here, but myself and my team are here for the environment. It's primarily, we are a social good enterprise. We will be a not-for-profit. However, we will need to have an income stream in order to fund the project and to make things happen. So in the short term, we intend to focus consultancies on solving or working on these three key aspects that our focus groups have identified as being the most kind of low-hanging fruit, most bang for the buck opportunities in the regulatory world. In the long term, we will see, possibly we may get sponsorship from the agencies, we may be able to commercialise the solutions that we are developing, or we may be able to, sell into the RegTech, GovTech, civic tech markets, the solutions that we have developed in association. So this is the team. I'm an environmental geoscientist. Anton is an evidentiary reviewer. Alex is our branding and website design. And thank you very much for beautiful slides tonight, Alex. And this is your invitation to join the Seek Geeks ecosystem. I am terribly sorry I don't have contact details there, but I do have business cards, and if anyone would like to know more, please catch me after.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Pete. Just the commercial model. So you said in the long term you would need to charge, I think you said the regulators or the agencies. So what would you be charging them for?
We would be seeking sponsorship rather than charging. In the masses world, we'll have to see, what actually works. But I imagine that there are government departments like DPI, like the EPA, and like US EPA, for example, who would see sufficient benefit because we can be using their systems to generate these ideas. Like the OECD, for example, spends a lot of its time handing out frameworks for exactly this kind of process, the ideation to problem solving. So we can be basically operationalizing what these people are already suggesting the world should be doing. We are just kind of facilitating it with the regulators. So we're kind of working down at the officer level to help them, use these frameworks that are out there, and that I think these organisations would actually like to see, taken up.
And so does that mean the regulators can make better decisions? Is that the...
Absolutely. The whole point is the regulators making better decisions with better information and also recording it and being able to justify it, which currently is a problem.
So are you proposing, or have you already built a platform to do this collaborating?
No. No, but my collaborator, thank you for the $500. Thank you very much, Macquarie. Unbelievably, I have found someone who is willing to help me build a website. It's just a website at this point. We will basically use the tools that are around, Slack and other things, to kind of network and find our way through. But definitely, there are so many frameworks out there and available that guide you through the ideation and the innovation process that a lot of regulators, they're not currently accessing, but they would get it with a bit of help.
Beautiful. Pete, that was awesome. And I don't know if you guys noticed Pete's shoes. So at first we thought he spent the $500 on shoes that would kind of match the decor, but you came with those, right? Yeah, that's fantastic. Hey, mate, thank you so much. One thing we didn't mention, Dr. Alex, was the fact that all of our startups who were involved in this got $500 to spend, right, on their on different experiments and things that they could do with their startup. So very, very cool. Just some good context there. But up next, we have Shreya, who's going to talk to us about conscious skincare. So give her a welcome.
So hi everyone, I'm Shreya and I'm proud to present to you Conscious Skincare. So having studied biotechnology, the literal manipulation of nature down to a genetic level, something deep down inside me still wants to believe that everything we need to survive and thrive can be found in nature. We just need to learn how to harness it. This as well as the fact that I can spend hours in a skincare store trying to find the perfect product for me, something that's sustainable, that's pure and that simply does what it promises is a challenge. So out of these two issues, Conscious Skincare was born. I'm looking to create sustainable products that utilize seaweed and microalgae extracts in order to help an oversaturated skincare market. So this is all in relation to the oversaturated skincare market, which is largely unregulated. Products can basically be greenwashed and basically falsely advertise their products. You can slap on natural or organic, and all of a sudden a petroleum-based or synthetic-based product becomes this new sustainable option that everyone wants. The competition I have, so people who are already using microalgae extracts tend to be quite expensive. However, the items that are within my target market's budget tend to either not use pure extracts or are falsely advertising and greenwashing their labels. This is due to the unregulation of this industry and the fact that there's an anything goes sort of policy in terms of the legality of labels. There's also a harm then heal process with some products where they actually harm your skin before healing over, therefore sort of portraying this false sense that they're helping your skin and being beneficial. So why conscious skincare? I want to create products that nurture you from the inside out, that really get to the core of your skin problems and can help you using nature's little gifts. I want my products to create, kind of disrupt the skincare industry, creating a more sustainable sector where more sustainable products and extracts are being utilized. Additionally, I would love my products to act as an educational tool to help the public understand that we can use these marine resources in our everyday lives. We just need to learn to harness them and to accept new and sustainable products and give them a go. So where am I at? I've looked at researching microalgae and seaweed extracts and looking at the ones that are TGA approved for skincare use. I've started branding my products and I've built a business model. However, I believe that this will be dynamic and change as my process of extending my startup goes. At the moment, I'm looking to formulate my products with expert advice, working with chemists and biotechnologists, as well as manufacturing these goods. So my ask today is not monetary. I'm looking for opinions, expert knowledge, and connections. So please feel free to connect with me and guide me along my startup venture. Thank you.
Do we have a question from any of our judges?
Do you have some ideas on which products you'd start with?
Yeah. I just add this in just in case I get it. But basically, I've talked to some C3 scientists at our wonderful Institute Climate Change Cluster here at UTS, and I've been told that certain products that come from seaweed and certain microalgae, such as alganates, are really good for creating sheet masks as well as serums and can be added to non-petroleum-based products to create moisturizers. I just need to find alternatives for traditionally used products, particularly like the gelatinous ones that I use and emulsions. But yeah, I've got some ideas. I just need to start fiddling with them and probably contact a chemist who can help me out a bit more.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much, Shreya. And we haven't actually talked about a giant green elephant in the room that was surprisingly behind Shreya during this whole presentation. Very, yeah. We have over here our algae bioreactor, which is making its debut tonight. It's the first time many of you have seen it in the room. I saw it for the first time today. But inside's 20 litres of chlorella, a microalgae that we grow in the lab, and here illuminating all of our startups tonight. So very exciting. We won't applaud for that, but you know, you guys can if you want, but that's probably a bit much. Yeah. So after that, we are going to keep that round of applause going for Lunchbox, our next startup. If we can get them up here.
Hi. My name is Aisha, and I'm one of 3 co-founders alongside Kavya and Gabriel of Lunchbox, homemade lunches delivered to your child's school. So our team has a diverse background in management, public health, and finance. So I want you to imagine, it's 7 a.m., you have 2 kids to dress, 2 breakfasts to make, 2 bags to pack, and 2 lunches that your kids will actually enjoy eating all in 1 hour. Nutrition and health is the last thing on a parent's mind, and we get that. Overall, we've seen that there's a lack of knowledge about nutrition, kids are picky, parents are running low on time, and healthy lunch options are really limited in the market. And what do the stats say? Approximately 1 in 4 children are overweight or obese in Australia, which is incredibly alarming. That's why I'm incredibly excited and proud to introduce to you Lunchbar. Lunchbar connects parents and home cooks who make and deliver yummy, nutritious, and affordable lunches directly to your child's school, fresh every single day. So first of all, we have our parents. Parents are going to browse through our cooks' menus and pick paid subscription plans, so that's weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, and then on our website. And then they can add any dietary or allergy requirements that your child has. Next, we have our home cooks. These are people from the local community who are passionate about cooking, and they're going to make and deliver your child's lunches to their school. Lastly, we want to partner up with schools and invest some of our profits to get free lunches to disadvantaged children. Parents are going to save approximately $100 per week on groceries and 30 to 45 minutes per day in cooking time by using our service. Our competitors include school canteens, wholesalers, Flexi Schools, which is an online ordering system for canteens, lunchbox programs, and HelloFresh. Our roadmap is to partner up with one school first. Next, we're going to find 3 passionate home cooks from the community around the school. Home cooks get 60% of profits from each sale, and that's because they're going to be sourcing their own ingredients, but we will connect them with food organizations like Oz Harvest and Yume, so they have access to fresh supplies, but they're also going to be reducing food waste at the same time. And lastly, we're going to get 50 customers. Where are we right now? We've spoken to 5 primary schools, and currently 1 is going through a tender process. But if you have any contacts with primary schools, please come and say hi. Our ask is for parents to fill in our customer research survey, and if you have connections with parents in primary schools, please let us know. Children are the future, so let's feed the future right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. So just in terms of how you would envisage making money, so it's obviously a for-profit venture because part of it's going to go back into feeding disadvantaged children, which is fantastic. So how much will the product cost, or what sort of cost options would a parent have to choose from?
We want the product to be really affordable, so we're going to price it around what the canteens are pricing their pies. So we're thinking around $8 to $11, $12 per lunch, around that mark.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Aisha was telling me a story as well. Actually, we talk about hustle a lot and validating your startup idea and how do we know that this is going to be something people want. And so Aisha was like, I'm just going to show up at a P&C meeting. And she literally did show up at a P&C meeting. You know, she doesn't have kids in the school, obviously. But yeah, she was just hustling them and being like, would you use this? So very, very cool. Awesome team. But we have one more startup who's going to pitch tonight. It's very exciting. So I'd love to welcome Bodhi to tell us about AWA.
All right, cool. So what do you get when you cross a professional athlete with someone who watches videos on advanced calculus in their spare time? My co-founder and I. Hi guys, my name's Bodhi, and that there is my longtime friend and co-founder, Riley Lankshire, and at present day, we're qualified nerds. We got backgrounds in energy, physics, maths, finance, and computer science. But growing up, we actually competed on an international stage for a number of years. And during this time, we were outside a lot. And something when you realize when you spend a lot of time outside is that there is no greater eyesore than seeing waste someplace it shouldn't be. Now, a lot of people think this is because people are lazy or they don't know better. Well, I'm here to tell you the culprit is actually these guys. Bins. They suck. Bins are probably the laziest interface humans have ever invented, and I'm sure if you live in Sydney, this scene isn't unfamiliar. Pests, overflowing, pollution, all hallmark traits of the curbside bin. Making matters worse is that they actually make recycling way more confusing than it needs to be. because recycling doesn't just depend on the material you're holding, but also the location you're in, the council, and the provider they use. So for example, I live in Avalon, and so this water bottle would belong in the yellow bin. But if I'm standing in the CBD, it belongs in the red. Confused? So am I. But the point is, these coloured lids are more misleading than useful. You pair that with information overload, and it's almost impossible to find quick and clear answers to waste-related questions. That's not all, because pickups also suck. The economics, market forces are causing the economics of curbside pickups to break down, and so pickups are becoming increasingly unprofitable. Contamination is super common, and separation is really expensive. The result? Most of what we're recycling is ending up in landfill anyway. That's a massive environmental problem, and it's costing the Aussie taxpayer $250 million every year to deal with it. Wouldn't it be nice if we just had an everything bin? Something we could just put all our rubbish and problems into and it fixes everything? Mate, AWA, the everything bin. AWA is an on-site waste-to-energy technology that allows SMEs and homes to convert common waste materials directly into green electricity. It's a little bin with big savings. Obviously, it's a plus for the environment, but doing this is also a plus for you, because in converting your waste to electricity, you get to save yourself $8,500 every year in collection and power costs. So with AWA, you can save time, money, and the environment all at once. Now, how's it work? Well, when waste is placed in AWA, it begins a thermal treatment process. This breaks the waste down to a hydrogen-rich gas, which is then cleaned and sent to a fuel cell, at which point reformed into electricity. Rinse and repeat. AWA is a new technology, and so it's retailing at $37,000. However, cash flow shouldn't be a barrier to sustainability, which is why we also have a flexible lease option. And through this option, users can realise a full payback in as little as 10 months. That's a factor of 10 faster than solar panels. We've been speaking to a lot of customers, and we do have some billion-dollar companies in the pipeline, including Guzman & Gomez, Centra, and Woolworths. At the moment, we are raising $250,000 to help us build a first release product and run a pilot program with Guzman & Gomez. Oh, I just skipped a whole bunch. That's sweet. Anyway, if you want to get in contact or have any further questions, here's my details. Thanks, guys.
So have you built a prototype or theoretical still at the moment?
No, we have a sister lab in Canada, the Institute of Chemical Fuels and Alternative Resources. And so we kind of like infiltrated that place and used a whole bunch of their old equipment to build one. So yes.
Just looking at the size and your initial pitch in being outdoors, like do you see kind of specific use cases of this, or who's using it?
Yeah, so it's strange with this kind of thing. People always are wondering about the size, and it's actually engineering with things that require thermal treatment. It's easier to make them smaller, but our process only takes 90 minutes. So we're kind of trying to balance an act between, let's say, someone like Guzman & Gomez who go through like almost 300 kilos of waste a day. In a single store, and then a household. So being able to do both is something we're trying to look at, and also manage space. You don't want to have something that takes up more space than your current bin room. So our current is about 240 litres for the receptor, and then it ends up being about from here to here and that tall.
Do you have a sense of how much energy goes in and how much comes out?
When you asked. Yes. Our delta is about 2.2 kilowatt hours per kilogram, so that's quite a lot. So you put in 1, you get 3.2. Yeah.
Great.
Sweet. Any more? Oh.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bodhi. That was fantastic, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Yep. Let's give them all one more big round of applause. Okay, so there's a few moving parts that need to happen because, like I said, this is not a competition, but Alex, our lovely Dr. Alex, is going to take our judges and just talk to them about something next door. We don't know what. It's all good. You guys don't need to know just yet, but we are all going to, you're going to do that. And I am going to get someone we all... I'm very excited to hear from as well. So Professor Peter Ralph, where are you? You're somewhere. Yes. over here. We are here because of the C3 Climate Change Cluster, which is doing incredible things here at UTS, partnering with UTS Startups, and we'd love to hear a little bit from you around, what you guys are doing and what you're up to. So please welcome Professor Peter Ralph.
Thanks, everyone. Tonight, wow, as the founder of the Deep Green Biotech Hub, I've been watching the evolution of, I suppose, startups and what the hub's been doing. And congratulations to everyone. Your pitches, your solutions are real, are really, really tractable. And I just sat there and I thought, okay, the planet is in safe hands. We've got a bioeconomy. You guys are transforming sustainable solutions. Every single pitch, I went there and I thought, oh, okay, is this really something, anaerobic digesters, hydrogen production, sustainable nutritional products, all of these things make sense. And I'm very encouraged by that. I think the opportunities that we're going to see happening for sustainable solutions, climate solutions, is in startups' hands. One of the things I wanted to thank, now that Peter's left, I wanted to thank Peter. I'm not going to even try and pronounce his surname, but I think the two talks that we had this evening, Peter talked about all of his tips, and I was listening to those thinking, wow, that's exactly what, I don't pitch, fortunately. I'm a boring academic, but I do have to talk to industry partners. I do have to talk to clients. I do have to talk to groups. And everything that he said was true. And you guys all did it. You understood the why. One of his questions was, when you talk to a group, make sure you understand why they want to invest in you. And you guys all got that. So you were all trained well during your last 2 weeks. Gabrielle Upton's talk was also really interesting because she's talking about what the government wants to do and what the government can do. New South Wales has been dragging its heels in investing in innovation. And what New South Wales is doing now by doing the procurement, I think that's really exciting because I think that's going to give you guys opportunities to get your products starting at a lower entry point. So this has really been an exciting evening. One of the things that I wanted to do was also acknowledge what the teams have had for the last 2 weeks. A lot of the people in the audience may not know that there's been a whole series of presentations, and we've had 3 great collaborators of the hub come back and give talks to them and give them some ideas. First one was Lucy Hankin from Grok, and she gave a great talk about how to engage, how to find money, how VCs work, and how not to look stupid in front of a VC. And I thought that was an awesome talk. Richard Adamson from Young Henrys. He talked about the story of how he's transformed an SME into a sustainable business and how important sustainability is for him to go forward. And I hope the teams really took a lot away from that. And then last night was Nick Hazel. Nick Hazel, the CEO of V2. And Nick got me thinking after his presentation. He talked about a thing called venture science. And I thought, what the hell's venture science? And I emailed him afterwards and I got his paper on venture science. And I'm starting to understand now what the interface between universities and startups could be. Because I'm an old academic. I've done a lot of old traditional things and I'm learning how to work with the startup space. And I think Nick's suggesting new ways that we can engage effectively so that traditional university academics can interface well with SMEs and startups. And I think Nick's going to suggest new ways that we can do this better. And UTS and UTS Startups absolutely is doing this well. So I think tonight's been a real celebration of what's possible, what's going to happen going forward. And, 3-4 years ago when we started the Deep Green Biotech Hub, I would have had no idea that these kind of pitches and ideas could have come from it. So I think I'm really proud that you guys have done so well. I have no idea how the judging is going to go. I'm really pleased I wasn't one of the judges. I think it's going to be a tough call. But the thing is, you all should be very pleased. So I have no idea whether Alex is going to come back with magic things or Dave's going to take over.
Yeah, well, look, thank you, Professor Peter. Let's all, I guess, I'm going to take that as you're happy working with us if we could do more of this stuff. Is that, okay, good, yeah. We love that. So, okay, let me think about this. Kat O'Donoghue, who is usually, very busy doing lots of things around here. Can we borrow you? Or are you busy?
Yeah.
Okay. Kat and I work at Uts Startups. Yes, that one. Because this is not a competition.
Okay.
No. All right. So we work at Uts Startups along with Lourdes, my lovely colleague at the back there, deep in some sort of YouTube land, and our friend Emma, who's over there as well. But we essentially are here because we help around 380 startups.
391.
Whoa. It just, hey guys, what's up? So we invited a cheer squad. We help them build their businesses, and we absolutely couldn't do it without the help of people like Professor Peter and many others around the university, and many of you guys who are supporting, students who really should be getting jobs, but are building their own companies.
They're making their own jobs.
Yeah. And we love that. So if any of you find yourselves in a place where you wish to either become a startup founder, join a startup, or perhaps support a startup, or perhaps mentor startups, as many of you guys are, we would love to chat with you. UTS Startups is, growing all the time. We keep getting people apply all the time because obviously people want to build their own companies and do their own thing. And we love that. Kat, how can people get involved if they are interested?
So if you would like to join UTS Startups, which we highly encourage, so you just have to have a UTS student founder on your team, and you can easily sign up through our website. Dave, if you would turn around. Oh, no, you don't have it. Do I have it?
I don't think either of us have it.
Oh, no. Normally we have websites on the back.
We haven't done this before, have we? We tried. Startups... Is it?
Right up here.
Thank you, Rachel, who is from Deep Green, but okay, thanks. Startups.uts.edu.au, get on it.
But if you would like to support our startups, so if you don't have a startup idea but you're really keen to support student-founded startups, please reach out. Our email is on our website. So if you head to our website, or please just come up and grab me. We would really love to chat. We always love having more people in our supporter network to help the next generation of entrepreneurs at UTS.
Absolutely. And so you are not a startup founder either, are you?
No, not at all.
You work in support of startups. So you're literally helping, supporting, doing all these awesome things. And so startup founders like myself and many other people would benefit from, no matter whether you are a founder, want to be a founder or not. Yeah, there's a place for you.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. I'm getting a look from Emma, which is stop talking, Dave, because we've got our judges back. Thank you. It was weird that you guys left us, but we're glad you're back. Alex, do you have any exciting news for us at this point? What's going on?
None at all. There's none.
I didn't think so. But I should mention before you don't tell us what's exciting,
okay.
Because I didn't skip forward accidentally, we've got some really cool merch from you guys. Yeah, we're too poor for stuff like that. But if you came tonight, we would love you guys to go home with some very cool Deep Green Biotech Hub merch. You can definitely grab that from the lovely Rachel. Give us a wave. Who checked you in tonight. It's all over there. Please go home with this sustainable, awesome stuff.
Also, any of the Macquarie mentors that are here, if you haven't seen me and had me give you a tiny little thank you, please come and find me because we have some amazing algae hand sanitizer that was made by one of our startups. So if you haven't got some of that, it's a hot commodity. So please come and find me. I think before we announce this surprise, we should give a big shout out to all the teams again. So can we get Clear Connection just to give us a bit of a wave? We're just going to start a rolling applause, I think. Laguerta, Peel Appeal, Make Shuffle Shift, Seek Geeks, Algae Skin, Lunchbox and Iwa. Fantastic. Awesome job. Dave, do you want to, or Emma, Emma? Yeah?
Hi.
So we had a surprise. We told everyone this wasn't a competition, but it was a competition. You were competing, you just didn't know it. But that's not what tonight's about. Tonight's about supporting the teams, giving them connections, giving them a big, round of applause for also just making the decision to have a business that's sustainable. I think that's really fantastic. Yeah. So we had 2 award categories, and we had most compelling pitch, and we also had most sustainable pitch. Emma, do you want to announce who the judges have decided a couple of, we won't call them winners, they're not winners, I think they're just people that did well. Recipients. They've got recipients of these titles for the night.
Fantastic job to absolutely everyone, of course.
We have a little bit of a boost for your seed funding, which you'll find inside the envelopes. I'm sure you probably know a little bit about seed funding at this point, but we hope that the teams are able to use this to further their journey, to address their ask and get a little bit further.
So on that note, the award for most compelling pitch goes to AWA. Come on over, Bodhi. Do you have any little notes of thanks?
I'm just
hold it, so because you haven't sanitized it. I'll hold it.
Do like the thing.
Hand sanitizer. We just got to hold it in your direction.
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
How do you feel? What was the best part of this experience?
Oh, everything really. Obviously, I'm kind of a little bit further down the track, I think, than some of the people who came in with ideation. But it's always good rehashing kind of every part of the whole startup journey over and over again. It's a constant loop because each time you go through what's my core value proposition or how's my pitch look, you kind of learn something new and you get a little bit of feedback and you tweak something and you get better each time. So for me, that was kind of the big value add, was just tweaking the little things and making it better each time. And obviously the support from Macquarie, having someone to bounce ideas off, especially from someone who's not necessarily familiar with my industry, and seeing how it lands on them, and it's all very, very positive.
Well done. I know that it's our job to inspire people to become entrepreneurs, but I'm inspired not only to try to start my own side hustle on the weekend, but look at what sustainable practices I can make in my own life, whatever little step that is. So thanks for inspiring us.
Thank you.
Good job.
Before I hand over to Dave to do a big kind of wrap up, and we can let everyone go and return back to the open bar in the rainy evening that's welcoming them outside, really. Big thank you, of course, to Uts Startups. Massive thank you. The Macquarie Group for sponsoring and also offering amazing mentors. There's some in the room, please. We've got New South Wales Treasury, who of course support Deep Green Biotech Hub, soon to be Department of Premier and Cabinet. They've obviously been amazing with supporting us. Nat up the back on AV all night, live streaming away. We've got Reese over here, who's also been doing stuff all night. Thank you very much, Reese. And finally, the Climate Change Cluster, who's a research institute that supports the Deep Green Biotech Hub and also supported this beautiful funky lava lamp of living cells that we've all been looking at all night. So Dave, I'm going to hand over to you to round out the evening and send these people off into the rain.
Yes, I don't really have anything else to say. I feel like you said it all, but we appreciate every single one of you guys for the hour and a half or so of your lives that you have given to supporting these awesome startups. You guys are legends. We would love to see you back here supporting either or both C3, Deep Green and UTS Startups, and we really appreciate your time. And have a good night. That's it.
Thank you.
See you later.